Hi, my name is Kara, and I'm a freshman here at ORU, and I read the book Brain Rules for Baby by John Medina. This book I thought was super good. It had a lot of stuff that I could apply to my life and everything, but two specific principles that I noticed in this book were the awareness of a prenatal infant and then also a healthy way to punish your kids. So for the first one, Medina talked a lot about how babies are aware of a lot more than one might think, even before they're born. For example, like babies can recognize their mom's voice whenever they're when a mom's speaking to her child before it's even born. Whenever the child's born, then it kind of recognizes that similar voice, and they're then soothed by the mom's voice and have peace from that. And specifically in this book, Medina says that newborns have a powerful memory for sounds they encountered while still in the womb in the last part of gestation. So like towards the end of pregnancy. So specifically about this part that I noticed in my own life was in the book, Medina was talking about a specific tune that some moms expose their kids to before they're even born. And then after the child is born, they recognize that same tune that was played whenever they were inside of their mother. And from that, they have this subconscious feeling of peace and security, which I thought was really fascinating. And then I was kind of talking to my mom about this, and she was telling me about, actually, whenever my mom was pregnant with me, she really liked the TV show Little House on the Prairie. So she was constantly watching that, and so while I was inside of her, I was constantly exposed to the theme song, which is really funny, but I even to this day, whenever I hear that, I'm kind of I feel this peace. It's weird. I don't think about being inside of my mom or anything, but I don't know, it's weird. It brings me back to a more simplistic mindset. So I thought that was really cool. And it even made me think about whenever I'm a parent someday, maybe I'll have a specific song that I play for my kids before they're even born, and then maybe have something that'll soothe them whenever they are born, maybe stop them from crying or whatever. I know that's something that Medina talked about in here also. So that was one really fascinating principle that I could easily apply to my life. And the second one was a healthy way to punish your children. Specifically, Medina mentions that establishing rules is really important and making sure that you're consistent on your kids knowing, what's right and what's wrong. And if you cross a certain line, then, punishments have to be made. But also being really consistent about punishing whenever these rules are broken. That way they know, you can't step past a certain point. And also he mentions that it's really important for parents to explain to their children, what they did to deserve a certain punishment, and then how they can further better behave in the future, which I think is really important. Not that I have parenting experience or anything, but I definitely think that's an important aspect of parenting, just to make sure that your kids are following good behavior and developing good morals as they age. And one thing that Medina said in this book specifically was parents who provide clear, consistent boundaries whose reasons for existence are always explained generally produce moral kids, which definitely makes sense. And whenever I was thinking about my own life, actually in the book, Medina mentions the controversial topic of spanking, and so we've talked about this in class a few times about whether, it's a good thing or a bad thing. And Medina actually mentions his own, as a parent, he and his wife decided, they're not spanking their kids. And so whenever I was looking at my own life, whenever I was reading about this part of the book, I was spanked as a child, and my parents were really, really smart about the way that they went about it, and I never felt like they didn't love me or anything like that. They always walked in love, and they always explained why I was being punished, and I remember specifically, seeing my parents, tear up whenever they would spank me, which, they love me, and they hated to cause me pain, but I needed to learn, in the end, how to behave better in the future. So I think that yes, it is a controversial topic, but if the parents go about it with a mature, loving mindset, then, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, depending on, how parents go about it. Because technically, my parents followed everything that Medina talked about in this book, like making clear, consistent rules and, and like being clear about, when punishments were needed, and I still felt completely loved. And so, will I spank my kids? I'm not really sure. I may, maybe not. Maybe if the situation calls for it, I'm not sure yet. But if I do, I'll definitely walk in love before anything else. But overall, I thought this was a really good book. And I definitely will keep these notes for the future of my parenting life. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Thanks, guys.